Lance Myhan here, still trying to learn how to sit in a chair. I mean, why does that why does that show up? I mean, what am I supposed to do? Oh, that looks comfortable. There we go again. So, Lance Myhan here, working on celebrity movie reviews. So, I was in a chat the other day with some coworkers, group chat, uh, and one of them said it was the first time they had ever made beef stew. And I had several thoughts about that. Oh, my nose itches. Is it okay? I mean, oh, goodness. Oh, does that mean I have the COVID? Oh, how much can you scratch your nose on video? So in a group chat, which seems to be our lives lately, we don't actually want to connect with people. We just want to stay at a distance. And one of them said that they had never made beef stew before, and I was just floored. I mean, how can you be a grown adult person and not ever had made beef stew? And then they were commenting on the recipe and how they wish they'd had the recipe from their mom. And then all of a sudden, that got kind of sad for me. And I was thinking about how I've got a great mom, but I don't want her beef stew recipe. So, Mom, if you're watching this, I'm just not that into your beef stew. I'm not that into anybody's beef stew. So the fact that my coworkers were texting about it, it doesn't hurt my feelings that you didn't invite me for any beef stew. But then the topic moved on to Ford versus Ferrari, and I thought, wow, I've seen that movie. I got lots of questions about that. I just have lots of questions in general. I hold them in, like when we're in a meeting at work. I have a million questions. I just bottle them up. That's what I do. And I thought, well, you'd never made beef stew. I've never made a movie review. You're asking about the movie, so I'm going to make a movie review, and I'm going to do that. So, Ford versus Ferrari. Overall, good movie. I recommend it. You can stop right there. It is rated PG-13. It's set in the late 50s and early 60s, where Henry Ford is competing with Ferrari to be the top place in the racing world. So they need a race car driver, and his name is Carroll Shelby, and he is no longer able to race. He's building sports cars, and he has a great track record. He's selling the Shelby Cobra 427. And money's tight because he just has the one car, and he keeps selling it over and over and over. And Ford reaches out to him and offers him a blank check to begin building a new racing car to take down Ferrari. And Shelby tells Henry Ford, there's only one guy good enough to drive a car that can beat the Ferrari, and that's going to be Ken Miles. And so Ken just laughs in his face. But that's how the movie plays out. Ken Miles is played by Christian Bale, and Carroll Shelby is played by Matt Damon. I think they do a great job. They have a great deal of respect for each other and even affection. And so if you like movies with Bale and Damon, I think you'll like this movie. I like movies with Matt Damon because my brother reminds me a lot of Matt Damon. So this is what my brother looks like. He looks like Matt Damon. Well, you can't tell there. But anyway, I grew up with Matt Damon, and so I like Matt Damon movies. Ken Miles has a short fuse in the movie. He's a rager. Him and Carroll Shelby get into it. There's one scene that involves groceries, which doesn't sound that great. But they're fighting, and one of them reaches for a can of something to hit the other one with, and then they realize, hey, that's a can, so they go for the bread, and they hit each other with the bread. And so it's like brothers fighting. In the movie, Ken and his wife Molly have a very loving relationship, and he relies on her a lot for understanding and for wisdom. And Carroll Shelby's got nobody in the movie, but in real life, he had like 7 wives. And this movie is set from the late 50s to early 60s. So there was a woman there. I would like to have learned more about that, but that was not part of the movie. There's not any spiritual content in the movie, which is fine with me. I'm not going to my movies for religion. There's no marital activities that I remember. There is some violence, so a lot of cars crashing, stuff catches on fire, fight scenes. There's a scene with a wrench that's really important that I liked quite a bit. Crude or profane language, yes, that's in this movie. It's in there less than a lot of PG-13 movies. I'm not going to let my kids that are under 13 watch it, but a lot of people will, and they'll be comfortable with their decision. And I would probably be okay if I did that, but that's just not something I'm ready to do yet. Uh, I don't remember there being a lot of drugs or alcohol in the movie. I think there was a party with some liqueur. Overall, I recommend the movie. One of my favorite scenes involves Henry Ford in the passenger seat, um, and Carroll Shelby's driving the racing car, and he's pushing the car to the limits, and it terrifies Henry Ford, and he just has no idea of the power in this car that they've built, and he's just running around the track, and the guy's sweating like he's breaking down in the tears, and you're not sure like if he went to the potty in the seat or what, and he's just like broke down at the end, and he didn't understand how great, I mean, the greatness in the vehicles that they've built. And I guess for somebody who doesn't like cars and doesn't love racing, probably wouldn't enjoy that scene very much, but I did. And so I'm going to tell you about one of my other favorite scenes in the movie, and I'm going to act it out, and that's going to close out our movie review. So Matt Damon, Carroll Shelby are flying in somewhere to launch the new Ford Mustang, and he flies in an airplane. That's not like another word for driving fast. And he lands the plane, and he like parks it like he would a car. Like he just lands it really hard, and then it turns in there, and just it's really funny. It's not funny when I do it, but the whole slides it in there, terrifies people. I don't have a lot of experience. Well, I have no experience piloting. I have been a passenger in a plane, and that would have terrified me if someone had done that. The movie's last 2.5 hours. I think it just zips on by. My favorite scene, though, is up on the podium when they're launching the Ford Mustang, and Carroll Shelby stands up there to give a speech. And he says in his speech, "I was 10 years old when Pop said, 'Son, it's a truly lucky man knows what he wants to do, because that man will never have to work a day in his life. But there are a precious few, and I don't know if they're lucky or not, but there's a few who find something that they have to do.'" So in this scene, Carroll Shelby's on the podium saying that, and Miles is in the back of the crowd. Ken Miles, the driver, is listening. And he knows Shelby's talking to him, and he's talking to him alone. And Carroll Shelby says, "Something obsesses them. That if they can't do it, well, it's going to drive them clean out of their mind." And then Shelby stops right there, and his breathing's shallow. He takes a moment before he raises his head, and he looks right into the crowd. And he says, "I'm that guy." And he looks straight at Miles. And Miles holds eyes. They don't blink. Their eyes are locked in each other. And then Shelby says, "And I know one other man feels exactly the same." And neither man blinks. And Shelby smiles and he says, "His name is Mr. Henry Ford." And it crushes Miles. It crushes him. It crushes Miles. And that's the best part of the movie. Not because Miles gets crushed, but because of that scene where Shelby says, something obsesses them, that if they can't do it, it's going to drive them clean out of their mind. I love that. That's me. I know what I'm made for. I know my purpose in life. It's not movie reviews. Hope you enjoyed my movie review, and I look forward to connecting with each of you soon.